All right, welcome everybody. I am so excited for this training. You have no idea. I will be a little unprofessional right now and say I was so excited. I feel like I'm going to pee my pants.
Wow.
I've been working on mindset so much this year. So this means so much that Sonya is taking the time out of her afternoon to join us and coach us using her experiences, her expertise, all of it. So I really do believe mindset lays the foundation for everything in our lives, not just this business, but everything. So why don't I go ahead and start, and I will share with you a little bit about who Sonya is before we dive in. First, I want to thank you, Sonya, for taking this time out and start out by telling you guys that Sonya actually has been in network marketing since she was 19 years old. That's a while.
It's a while.
Yeah, it's 29 years almost next month.
Yeah.
So she has also been married to her husband for 25 years and has 2 kids. She is John Maxwell certified to speak, train, coach, and teach, meaning she's a member of his team, which helped build leaders around the country and really for her around the world because she has team members in all different countries. And in regards to Plexus, she was one of the first diamonds in the company, which I find so fascinating. And she actually went diamond in 10 months. And when I heard this, I want to stop you guys from thinking of the comparison mindset and that timeline, because that is really fast. And I'm sure Sonya would agree it's not normal.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm going to address that.
Good. But when I heard that, I was like, holy smokes. And she's been in network marketing so long. I'm very eager to hear how her mindset helped her after being in it for so long get to that point so quickly. So she also was featured in Success from Home magazine. And I have a quick question for you. Is your 19-year-old self, what would you think of yourself with this kind of resume you have built up? I mean, what did you ever imagine?
You know what, Maya? I mean, we all just go through our life day by day. The days are, what is it they say? The days are long, but the years are short. And, I look at my life, I don't, I still feel like I'm so far from where I want to get to, with my mind and with building people and some certain skills that, I am proud of my accomplishments, and I'm thankful to God that He's used me all these years, molded me and trained me and taught me a lot of hard lessons so that I can pass them on. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. I've never really thought about it in the way that you just said it. Yeah, I would probably think, boy, that person's probably learned a lot of hard lessons, and they probably got a lot of stuff to say. That's probably what I would think about someone with 29 years of what I've done, and with a lot of the successes. They've probably fallen down a lot. Had a lot of heartache, really.
And I think that goes to show your persistence and your perseverance and really tapping into your own potential, because I feel like that's where a lot of us get stuck, because our mind starts to take over from what our heart or even our gut is telling us to do. So yes. I feel like you are a testament to that, showing us all that being persistent and patient and continually tapping into your potential, because you said you're not even where you want to be. And I believe we have unlimited potential. So I truly believe we will never reach that level, because we are always expanding. So I love that.
Yes, I agree with you. I don't think there's...
Oh, you froze a little bit. Sonya?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You froze.
Oh, I live in the country and it's a really windy day. How about that?
Okay. So you were saying you believe, and then you stopped when you were doing this.
Yeah, I believe that there's no way there's no such thing as reaching your potential. And John Maxwell, when I go see him once a year for a week, I'm with him. And, he said last year, or this year in February, he said, I'm 70 And I feel like I'm just now starting to learn. Like I'm just now starting to really grow. And like, are you kidding me? You've written 80 number one books, but you're just now starting. I mean, so it's definitely how we see things.
Yeah.
And I thought if you don't mind, whenever you're ready to turn it over to me, I'll just kind of share a little bit about my story and some things before I go into, I know we had some questions.
Yeah. So you can go ahead and start. We'll go ahead. I'll let you kind of give some background.
Yeah. So, so 19 years old, caught the vision of network marketing. I was a freshman I was a end of my freshman year in college, and I started network marketing. I did that for, the whole way through college, put myself through college. But when I went to my first convention in college, which was probably the following year, that's when I caught the vision of network marketing it wasn't about what I was selling. It was about personal growth, and it was about helping enough other people get what they want, you would get what you want. And I loved that concept. And so I came home and quit college my senior year. Don't do that. I quit college my senior year. I needed 21 hours to graduate, and I won my first car 4 months later and never looked back, and went full time with that company for 17 years. And every year with that company, I went to convention or seminar, we called it. But every year I thought, I would go, this is the year. I'd come back from that convention. I'd go, this is the year. It's going to happen. And I would work hard that year and do things that year. What I didn't do the whole time in that business, the first part of that business, is I didn't really work on mindset. I didn't really know about it, but I just would do the typical things network marketers do. I would work on setting goals, meeting new people, working our list, follow up, blah, 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 blah. But what I didn't realize was that all those things are necessary, and they're very urgent. But the most important is if you don't figure out what's holding you back. Because, see, here's what's happened. You come home from an event and you start to work. You start to implement, but then you still feel this hesitation. You still feel this fear. You still hear this self-talk that's holding you back from discovering that next step. Yeah. And so that happened midway in my journey, toward the end, actually. And, at some point at the very end, last couple of years, I just realized I was in a company that, it was a great company, but the compensation plan was just really not set up for success. So at some point you start going, what's wrong with me? Well, there was nothing wrong with me. I was still growing, developing, reading, going to conferences. It was the wrong compensation plan. So I have been in 5 companies. In between that company and Plexus, I was in 2 or 3 more, and very short timed. None of them were the same kind of company. They were all completely different. Health, travel, coupons, makeup, all different. But I believed in all of them 100%. And I did, I put everything I had into those. But timing is everything. And I got really sick, and I gave up everything and just said, I got to get better. I got to get well. And I got better, but not well. I was not well. And Plexus came along, and I was very skeptical, and I said, okay. So my best friend said, we're going to try this because it's low startup cost, right? No inventory, no parties, 60-day money back guarantee. And the company is young, but very strong. And I was like, and the product is desired by the masses. And I thought, this is good. This is good stuff. So what do I have to lose, right? So I joined Plexus, and I knew from the beginning that if the products did what I wanted them to do, and I worked along with the products, but I knew if they did what I needed them to do, that I was going to tell the world. And the first week, I slept better, had more energy, wasn't craving sweets as much. So I already knew there was changes. So I just went ahead that week and started telling people, and was able to quit my job 10 weeks later, and then 3 months later hit Emerald, and then 2 or 3 months after that, Diamond. Let me say this. I did not hit Diamond in 10 months. I hit Diamond in 20 years. It took me a long time to develop the skills, the knowledge, the wisdom, the emotional maturity I needed to handle that kind of growth that fast. It's really not quite fun when you go that fast. You need a little more time unless you've had that kind of experience. And even for me, it was too fast. So just to say, don't compare yourself to anyone. Don't ever compare yourself, because that's one game you will never win. Yeah. You will always lose that game. I lose that game. I promise you, I compare myself to people. I don't mean to, but it's human nature. And every time I do, I fall short. Every time I do, I beat myself up. Every time. Not once, but every time. So that's a little bit about my history. I've been in Plexus 5 years, a little bit over 5 years. And my passion is to help people break through their false and limited beliefs, so that they can become the person that they are, but they're not aware that they are. Because see, you're all capable of anything you've ever dreamed of. If you've dreamed it and you want it, God gave you the wherewithal to achieve it. The issue is we've bought into years and years and years of lies from other people, from ourselves, from our childhood, from teachers, from parents, from grandparents, from people who said, you're not going to amount to anything. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not good enough. You don't have your family's poor. You could never go to college. We've bought into that, and we have allowed that to define our belief system. And we have to learn to dump our belief system that's not working for us and create a new belief system. And how do you do that? It's all about your mindset. So Maya, I'm very much that kind of Zoom talker. So if you want me to just kind of stop here and we go through questions, that's fine too. And I can kind of come back to this, but it's real important that they understand some things. Yeah.
Well, and you kind of were talking about limitations, and I would assume then that means you have, because we were going to talk about the 2 different types of mindsets. Yeah. I believe that, correct me if I'm wrong, those limits and boundaries we put on ourselves because of experiences and perceptions we've created is within the fixed mindset. Yeah. And so the difference in that and growth mindset, I kind of wanted you to help explain a little bit, because growing isn't easy, because you have to reflect on yourself and you have to criticize and in a loving way, of course, but nobody's perfect. Nobody wants to be pointed fingers at, even when we are our own worst critic, yes, but we do have to continually grow because we have that unlimited potential. So if you don't mind just talking a little bit about, I guess, the importance of getting out of the fixed and going into the growth.
Yeah. And let's be honest. Who wants to really grow? Who wants to put forth the effort to change? Let's be real. It's much easier to stay on this side of the fence and allow what to happen. But when we don't put forth effort and we just allow life to happen, we definitely develop a fixed mindset. We start living in the comfort zone, which is the danger zone. But yet we live there and we accept it, but we're fighting with ourselves all the time because it's not what we really want. So we have this inner battle all the time. So I think we're constantly struggling with the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So I wrote down, after you asked me the question, I just jotted down 3 things that just come to my mind. I'm sure I could expand on that list. Might be a good class for me to teach. Love the topic. But number 1, how do you go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? Number 1 is you make a very conscious decision that you're going to change. You say, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I am changing this no matter what it takes. But it's such a clear decision in your mind that you believe it. And so you have to believe you can change. So number one is that clear decision that you can change. Number two, you have to believe that you have the power to change. Not just that you've made the decision, but then you have to buy into belief that you do have the power to change. That, you know what? God would never want me to live like this. He would never want me to live in this mindset, in this negative, poor me, victim mentality. He does not want that. My family, people around me don't want it. I'm going to change, and I can change. And how do I do that? You know, it's reading good books like What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. The Power of Neuroplasticity, same author. Let's see. Soul Talk, Self-Talk, Jennifer Rothschild. Great, easy read. Gosh, I have several. Oh my goodness. But you have to know that your mind is like a computer. And if all you do all day long is type into your computer, I am no good. I'm not good with people. I am shy. I am scared. What are people going to think of me? Well, your computer saves that, right? You hit save and it saves it to a folder. And every single time you go back to your computer, it's much easier to find that because you remember where it is. Because every time you recall it, it's easier to find. Then, goodness gracious, you don't even really have to open the folder. You kind of start memorizing it. The more you look at it, well, then everything just kind of takes over without you thinking, right? Like you can hear a commercial or a song that you didn't even know you were listening to, and you can repeat it. You're like, I wasn't consciously listening to that commercial, but I can say it word for word. That proves you have a subconscious mind, guys, and your mind is working all the time. So what you put in it, what you put in that computer is exactly the information and the results and the action that comes forth. So you have to understand that in order to change the outcome, you've got to change, the income. You've got to change what's coming in. The input, output, you got to change what's you're inputting, okay? So that starts with, if you've not read this book, I also did a book study on it. It's on YouTube. I did a 7-week study. You could go there and look at it, but it's an awesome book. It's like $6 or $7 on Amazon. It's an old book. I had it 20-something years ago and rebought it and started it over. Very powerful book. Okay. Number 3, I may have just said this. You have to have a no, I'm not a victim, no excuse mentality. You cannot have a victim mentality and use excuses and expect to be in a growth mindset. I've always heard this. Excuses are lies you tell yourself that no one else believes. Excuses are lies you tell yourself that no one else believes. I think that's so powerful because while we're spending time giving an excuse of why we can't do something, someone is overcoming that. Someone like Brenda Martin, she's in my downline. She's got like 11 or 12 kids. Like, seriously, Charlotte Seams, 12 kids, diamonds with plexus. Like, come on, people. Like, what in the world? Like, I just can't. It's like when I start to give myself an excuse, I think about people like that. So those are 3 things that came to mind as far as the difference, how to go from one to the other. I use affirmations every day. Let me give you an example of what I mean by an affirmation. I'm going to actually, this is kind of bold of me, okay? Scary a little bit. I'm going to let you, if I can find it on here, here it is. I got a new phone and I'm trying to find everything. Okay. So there's an app on the iPhone called Repeat It Again. It's a free app, Repeat It Again. There's several apps. There's one for the Droid called Affirmation Remix. And then there's another new one people are using. I can't remember the name of it. Something Up, but I don't remember the name of it. But anyway, what I do is I record affirmations on here and I listen to them. So like if I'm on the treadmill or if I'm putting my makeup on, I can hit number, let me see. Oh my goodness, I love to eat healthy. In fact, it's all I think about. All I can think about is healthy proteins, healthy fats, and green vegetables. It's like an obsession. In fact, I don't even like the smell of sweets or carbohydrates. I can easily pass up the potatoes, the rice, and the pasta. I always want the lean meats and the green vegetables. It's so tasty. When I go to a restaurant, it is so easy for me to make a healthy choice. In fact, it's all I think about. I just enjoy living. All right, y'all get it? So it doesn't have to be, so that's just, so on this, it has 9 buttons. And so number 1 is all about healthy eating. Number 2 is about working out at the gym. I love to sweat. I love to wake up in the mornings and sweat. It makes me feel so good. Like it's all I can think about. Because y'all, these are my challenges. So I advise you to put your challenges in separate compartments. And just, here's the good news. You could put your headphones in at night. You can go to bed listening to this, and it'll just play over and over. You can set that number 1 to play 20 times. So it'll play 20 times. Well, you don't have to pay attention to it. Your subconscious mind's getting it. Just like you get those commercials. It's getting it.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And the year that I did this, the first year I did this when I was in the other company was my highest year ever. I won the highest car in that company. I had already had the other cars. I won the highest car in that company. I had the highest year in sales for my team and personally, won all kinds of prizes. And people, what happened was people would just start coming out of the woodwork. People would just start coming, like I would get a call from someone I didn't even know, or someone will walk up to me in a store and talk to me, or someone that I'd been intimidated by all of a sudden was interested, because your subconscious mind will go to work and make things happen for you. Okay? Pray over your business. Pray over your business every day. Put in carrot seeds to get carrots. You can't put in corn and get carrots. You put in what you want to get out what you want, okay? So affirmations are not silly and corny. It's biblical. You reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. The tongue, what we say matters. So it also what we say to ourselves. We cannot leave ourselves. We are with us 24/7. Okay, you're with yourself. So if you are with yourself 24/7, it is crucial that you watch what you say to yourself. Okay, so that was the number 1 question you had asked me. I wanted to expand on it just a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And somebody wrote that Think Up. Is that the
Think Up? Think Up. Thank you. I think that's it. Think Up. Yeah.
Okay. So to kind of move along here in the next question, you've talked about how you've not arrived, so we assume now somebody looking on the outside in to you might think you have it all together. You don't ever have a bad day. You don't ride this roller coaster of emotions and doubts and fears. But as you've said, you're not where you want to be. And so with that, I assume you are also along the journey with us in that, in those struggles. Yeah. So for you did give us some pointers on tips on what to do, but for yourself, being in this industry, especially this long, how have you persevered through it that long, going through that emotional roller coaster? And what did it look like when you did have those bad days, or when you had fallen prey to the fixed mindset, and how did you get yourself out of it or move beyond it?
Yeah, great question. Life happens. Life always happens. We've lost my husband's sister, dad, and mom, his whole family in 3 years. everyone has life, and we have new, unfamiliar things happen to us so that we can grow. So every time and not just family stuff, but even in business, when you have something in business happens and you get down for a few days, I have to say, wait a minute, Sonya, you're the only one in charge of pulling yourself out of this. No one is going to come knocking at your door today. And you just learn that that's the way it is. And you constantly have a growth plan. You're constantly reading books. So right now I'm in the middle of this book again, No Limits by John Maxwell. You have to constantly just not think about what to do, but do it. There's a difference in knowing. John Maxwell calls it the knowing and the doing gap. Doesn't matter how much you know, you got to do something with what you know. So I just put myself right into action when it's okay to have a down day. And sometimes I give myself permission to have a down day. But then I immediately pull myself right back up. You can't stay there if you're going to be in a growth mindset. So, yeah, I know we're getting short on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your daughter's going to be getting home soon, so we got to get going. So I just want to ask you for if you do have any additional tips for those who maybe need to start working on their mindset or maybe have been working on their mindset, if there's differences in what we should be focusing on if you're in those different places.
I think you write down your fears. You write down your fears no matter what level you're at, no matter how long you've been doing this. I don't think that's really relevant. At every level, every stage of our life, we have different fears. You write down your fears and your challenges, and then you write an affirmation to counteract that. So if you're scared to talk to people, you write down, I absolutely love to talk to people. Everywhere I go, people are drawn to me. I love talking to people I don't know yet. It brings me such peace and joy, and I'm so confident doing it. So write yourself 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 sentences and then record them and then start reprogramming. I would say that at every level. Also, I say that it's hugely key to look at the 5 people that are around you the most and make sure that they are not sucking you dry, but that they're feeding you, or at least they're neutral and they're not pulling out of you. You cannot pour into yourself all day and then have someone drain it at the end of the night. So be careful who you share these things with. If you live with someone who pulls things out of you and they're very negative, then be very careful about sharing your goals. Don't talk about the talk, just go walk the walk. And that will, I had a woman ask me at Leaders Retreat, my husband is so against this. And she said, I tell him we're going to do this. And I tell him I'm going to do, I said, here's the deal. Keep him happy at home, cook a good meal, and go to work and make money. And I promise you won't have to talk him into being positive. There's just a few things that speak to your husband. It ain't much. They're pretty simple. Quit talking about it. Go work, bring home the money. You won't have to convince him anymore. So anyway, that's a few things. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it so much. You gave us so many good pieces of information and tips and strategies. I'm going to start doing that affirmations app and going to bed with it, because I do look in the subconscious and needing to train it. And I love that. So thank you.
You're welcome. That will change so much for you. You won't even believe it in 30 days. You won't even believe it. You literally, your mind will be blown in 30 days. If you do it for 20 days, your mind's blown. But 30, you're like, you got to be kidding me. What's just happening to me? Really.
I love it. So I want to stop. I want to know if anybody has any questions. And so I will unmute everybody in case you have a question or two. We have a few minutes. Does anybody have any?
Humble.
Oh. Don't be shy.
My last tip is to stay humble. Stay really humble. Stay humble.
That's a good one too.
And be real. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Anybody have a question? Anybody? Where are you guys from? Maya, Where are you?
So I'm in Utah, but I'm from Southern California, and this is where I think the majority of our team is from. We do have people scattered everywhere else, but we're mostly a West Coast team.
Yeah, I'm in Northern California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love California. Never been to Utah, but I love California.
Minnesota.
I love Minnesota. Oh my goodness. Mall of America. Go Mall of America.
The big attraction. All right. Did nobody has a question or any final feedback for her before we let her go? Because I wanted to keep this 30 minutes and we're getting close.
So how do you change your mindset when you sign someone up and they're, don't know how to do this, and you're new yourself? How are you, how are they, or how do I help them to be in a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset?
You do it yourself, and then you pass it on.
Okay.
You do it yourself, and then you teach them. Keep it simple with new people, but have them write down their challenges and fears, and then have them, start, thinking more positively by.
Oh, darn.
You froze again, Sonya. Oh, there you are.
Okay, so you do it yourself so that it comes from the heart when you're teaching it. So Jody, you do it first. You do it and you start seeing it work the first week and a half, and then you're passing it on, and your excitement about it encourages them to do it. So it's got to come from your heart. You can't just teach something you cannot go where you've never been. I mean, you can't talk to somebody about somewhere you've never been. So you got to go there first. There's a lot of feedback. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought I had muted everybody, but I guess I didn't.
There we go. Yeah.
Sorry.
So, but yeah, you have to you have to live it so you can give it.
Okay.
Yeah. Live it so you can give it. That's good.
That's good. I like that.
All right, and with that we will end so we don't run out of time here. So she can go be with her family. So,
all
right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. I enjoyed meeting. I love small groups. This is my thing. So thank you, Maya, for allowing me to love on your team and hopefully give you guys just a few little nuggets that you can take and be successful in your life and your business. I love all of you. Thank you for all you do for Plexus.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.